Okay, good morning everybody. My name's Chris Wen. I'm from ASC Technologies, and today, as you can see, I'll be talking about ensuring compliance within teams. Old school way. So, agenda, I'll try and stick to it as best I can, but what I'll do is I'll run through who ASC are, and the reason why I'm stood up here talking to you today, the regulations that are in play currently, impact of non-compliance, the tools available, the use of AI to ensure compliance, cognitive services within teams, and then a brief solution overview just to bring the whole thing together, and we'll end on that. So, who are we? ASC at a glance, 50 years is there of experience in communication engineering. Started off with language labs and things like that, and then we record trader turrets and traditional PBX phone systems, and then and now the full UC suites, if you like, from Teams, and the others like Zoom and RingCentral as well. That's all encapsulated in our Insights solution. Third globally in terms of revenue in the world. I'll spare you the 3-minute video, but as you can see, 13 subsidiaries, which allows us to offer 24/7 support to our customer, our partners. So our sales model is indirect. We have a good set of sales partners, and again, one of our big things, and a big thing for me and my team really, is the investment in R&D. So 20% is probably more than that now of revenue goes back into our solutions. So we really are big on listening to our customers, our partners want from the market, and hence our partnership with Microsoft and the solution that I'll present to you today. So talking of Microsoft, this is just a brief journey of where we've come from. So it started off in 2018 when Microsoft decided to push forward into the comms market. They realised that they was going to need partners to win market share, take on some of the big boys that are already established, like your Mitels and Unifies. And we pushed on and developed our Insights, Recording Insights application with Microsoft. Took on board what they needed to obviously take the market on, and we launched that in 2020. And as you can imagine, as you can see, the other points there, IP co-sell. So we're tight with Microsoft. We work with them to win your customers and partners. And the next thing for us, we are the first compliant recording vendor to be onboarded into their financial cloud. So that's the next thing for us, and that's us in a nutshell, really. So back to the compliance. So it's a huge issue, challenge, and it's one of the things really that I hear all the time. My team hear all the time. We've got this Teams solution. We use Teams. How do we implement that across our whole business? How do we meet our compliance needs? And when we think about compliance, FCA is the first one that springs to mind. And as I'll show you in a minute, when you talk about compliance, also financial implications, that's the first thing that springs to mind, but there's so much more. GDPR is something that affects everybody, every business. How do we handle customer data? How do we securely handle it, and how do we make sure that there's no leaks and things like that? And obviously the financial stuff and the PCI DSS, which is card payments. So many different businesses take card payments now. The newest one for us really was the councils and taking car payments for things like new bins and those sorts of things. So they had to have that capability within their business as well. But as you can see from the bit of research that's been done, most businesses have to comply with one or more. So they have to think about the people that are looking at that, the compliance managers, and if outside of the financial world, there usually isn't a dedicated compliance manager. It falls to the IT manager or the office manager, even in smaller businesses. So it is a real challenge, but it has real bad implications if it's not handled properly, as we'll see in a sec. So talk about the financials. As you see there, the non-compliance can be very costly. So just on the financial side, 10 billion in 2019 paid out for compliance violations, and that number has now grown. I think the last time I saw the latest figures, it was something around that 12 billion mark. And then we're looking at things like the PPI, and just general mishandling of data, rogue trades, all those things that you see in the media, and that all amounts to non-compliance and the violations and then the fines that are handed out. But also, away from the financial implications, the reputational damage of leaking customer data or losing customer data is sometimes irreversible. And it's something that really doesn't get flagged up enough. Okay, yes, we can see there in the figures, it's plain to see that it's going to cost the business a lot of money. But however, in a world where it's so competitive, just take the mobile phone industry for example, Vodafone, EE, all the other smaller players that are coming to the market, very competitive. It's very easy now to swap tariffs, swap networks and things like that. So looking after your customer is key. And the reputational damage of losing customer data is like I say, could be irreversible really. So compliance, as I say, you usually think about financial services first of all, but just laying out the different industries and the different challenges that they have. So public sector, so blue light industry, protecting people and properties, their number one goal. As a former police officer myself, I know this all too well. And making sure that you have all the data together to present at court, making sure that a guilty person doesn't walk free, and those sorts of challenges, and the pressure that police services are under now. Utilising technology is the only way that they're going to be able to keep up with those demands. And it leads into digital justice. So just as I was leaving the Met back in 2013, seems a long time ago now, it was moving towards having the person arrested in the actual police station and via video link back to the court, instead of actually physically taking that person to the court. And that cut down on the logistics and all the issues that comes with as well. So making sure that the data is captured and presented and secure is a huge challenge in those environments. As you can see, from it's across the board. We'll talk about GDPR, PCI DSS. It affects every single one of these areas of business. So, how do we ensure compliance? So, capturing all media is key. So within Teams, voice, chat, video, all those ways of communicating with people, with customers, with colleagues are open, so they have to be captured. So, as I'm obviously from ASC, but there are other vendors out there, you have to ensure, if you're looking at implementing a solution, that all of these can be captured and handled in a secure way. Chat is something that isn't done exclusively across the board, so that's one to look out for. But capturing the entire communication is the start of the journey. Internal and external communication, obviously there could be, if we go back to financial advisors or something, there's not everybody is the most, there are bad ones out there. sometimes intentionally, unfortunately. So internal communications, teeing things up and colluding and maybe not giving the right advice, that all could be captured internally. Then we move into full admin control, which is now we're talking about the real compliance tools within Recording Insights. So, as someone who admins the system, your global administrator, or, whoever that might be within your business, you're able to disseminate rights across your workforce. So, Joe Bloggs can only replay his own calls, Anne Bloggs can replay her calls or her team's calls, and those sorts of things. But then also, we're looking at how those recordings are then handled. So who can play back, and the approval process and things like that. So who can access those calls, access those chat logs, and that can be locked down to again ensure compliance. And last point there is conversation safe. So at the top we've got automatic or on-demand recording. So if you're in a contact centre, or again back to the financial industry, you would invariably want to record everything to make sure that everything is captured. Sometimes that may not be the way you want to do things, and on-demand is available. So you could be in the start of a call, and then the conversation takes a turn, and it has to be something that has to be captured. So you have that function to on-demand record, and if you have the on-demand record, it might not fit in with the automated recording rules to say, right, this call is now archived for 5 years, 7 years, whatever the setup will be, whatever the compliance archiving rule will be. But you've got conversation safe, so you have an extra layer of safety, really. So the call's taking a turn. You think, right, I have to record this. So you've pressed record, you've got to the end of the call, and then you can access that call, and then you have the conversation safe button. So you press the conversation safe button, and it's automatically archived off in a secure manner, as it would have done with an automated recording. So it's just an extra layer of safety, really. And then turn it into insights. So you've captured all the media, you've done it, you've locked it down, but turn it into something meaningful is probably the next step in the journey of compliance. So we've got all this information. What do we do with it? How do we access it quickly? How do we categorise it? How do we turn it into something that we can actually use as a business? So we use cognitive services. So everything is within Teams, one pane of glass. That great phrase. But using cognitive services to automatically go through your sets of calls and go, right, this call is about manufacturing, this call is about a complaint, this call is about whatever it might be. So you can go to your dashboard and immediately see, right, I've got 20 calls that have the word complaint in them. So I know there's an issue. There might have been a product launch, there's something going on within the business, and you can quickly identify what's happening within the business. So again, the reports that are available, usage, who's doing what, who's using what medium to contact their customers, the compliance. So as I said, you're looking at a good one is the insurance industry. So if you phone insurance, they have to say that preamble, we're regulated by the FCA, blah, 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 blah. If that preamble is not said to the customer, immediately that call is non-compliant. So you can analyse every single call and find the calls that don't have that word. You can pick out the phrase, you can pick out the word that you know has to be said in that preamble. So if there is a call that hasn't been said, which it has to be, then that can be flagged up straight away on your dashboard, and a compliance manager or whoever handles that within the business is able to identify that quickly and handle that issue and maybe head it off at a pass. And that's really one of the cruxes of the FCA regulations. You have to have the tools in place to ensure compliance. They know that if someone's going to do something, they will try their very best to do something they're against the rules. But if you have the tools in place, you can show that the effort is there, the tools are in place to help with compliance, then invariably there won't be an issue. Import and export is also a key one. So importing exporting, a lot of time, in a contact center, non-compliant world, it's a WAV file. It can be attached to an email and sent around to whoever it might be. For compliant recording, obviously that can't happen. It has to be locked down. There has to be rights and access rights to those exports. And again, that's what's available within Recording Insights. And then exporting as well is we can export into further analytical tools. So say Bloomberg's their e-discovery hub store. We're actually bringing out our own compliance tool. This is all going to be within Teams, so there's no third party. That's being launched at the end of this month, actually. Well, no, sorry, start of next month. So look out for that one. And then at the end there, in a secure manner. So everything is secure. So tenant-specific encryption. So that's all within Azure. Redundant architecture, so recording in parallel. So there's, I'm not technical, but I know there's two bots that sit on within the tenancy and record the activity. You have selectable Azure regions, which I have a slide for a bit later, and then you have all the archiving rules to make sure that, you know, if it's 5 years or 7 years, whatever that rule within the industry will be, then it's complied with. So the use of AI drastically cuts down time. You know, everything has to come back to time and money, really. But automating compliance processes is a huge time saver. You know, you're doubling. Not only you can double your coverage, you're actually, you know, you're taking out the human element. We all make mistakes. It happens, but automating that process and leveraging the analytics available cuts down the chance of something being missed. So doubling the coverage and cutting down the time. Also, it's a cost thing. To have someone sat there, again, I'll go back to my police days, you know, two rooms of people sat there listening to interview tapes and things like that and typing it out manually. Such a drain of resource and effort, and again, mistakes are made. If we're using analytical tools, if we're using AI to analyse calls, you're looking at around about 86 to 90% accuracy on a transcription, and editing that document is far more cost effective and far quicker than start from scratch with, you know, the earphones in and typing away. So the use of AI really is coming to the fore and is available. So using cognitive services, again, I've mentioned transcription. So we talk about analytics. We're all not just talking about voice calls. Using chat as well is becoming more and more prevalent, and a way to contact customers. I mean, my team pings off all day long. You know, customers and partners have my team's ID, and it's a good way, great tool to stay in constant contact and you know, sort of get things done quicker. But that chat obviously then comes with implications, as I've said before. If you're using it if you're a financial advisor, for example, you know, capturing that chat and then analysing it is important to be able to ensure compliance. Using the cognitive services, so as you see, 85 languages for transcription. Great if you've got you know, a multinational company, or you know, even if we're just talking about UK, Welsh speakers. A lot of contact centres in Wales. Welsh is available, you know, and that just makes the whole. I mean, native speaking is a big thing. People feel comfortable talking Welsh, so they do English. You know, that's no problem. And then, you know, you're building a business which is making everybody feel comfortable. And then the translation of the transcription as well. So if you you transcribe your calls, you're able to then be able to detect the language that is being used, and you can change it into different languages. So if you're a multinational, you know, a lot of UK, Japanese crossover business, great tool to make sure that nothing's being missed and everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet. So the difference between standard Teams recording and compliant recording, ASC Recording Insights. I won't run through them, but some of the key ones there really are the one-to-one calls and the chat. Again, I've mentioned the chat. It's very important. GDPR, the right to delete recording. So if you're a customer, you want to phone up and say, "I want all my data, deleted off your system. I don't want any more calls, any more emails, any more of your nonsense. Delete." It's available within the system. And that's audited as well, so you can't go in there as if you don't have the rights to go, "Oh, actually, I've really annoyed this customer, I've lost the sale," whatever it might be. I can't then just go in and delete that customer record. It's audited, so even the attempt is audited in the log files. As mentioned, conversation safe. The 4I principle as well, approval process. So that handling, that locking down of data is the key thing to take away. So Insights is, there's lots of different solutions out there. We're available across every single device you can think of, you can plug in. Personal devices, because we record at user level, if you're using Teams, it's a rule within your business that you lock down and you use Teams on your mobile, then MiFID compliance then comes in and you can use, those mobile calls are recorded as well. So again, a big thing for us with our partners, direct routing. So there's lots and lots of options out there now. Microsoft's own plans. You've got 8x8, RingCentral. Everybody's jumping on that bandwagon to direct route from Teams. So we were able to capture those different vendors to give flexibility to our customers and our partners. So just to touch on what Microsoft can offer in terms of their compliance regulations. So there was a thing recently around about something to do with Germany and them not having the correct rights and how they store things within their data centres. That's been resolved. As you can see, stick to United Kingdom, so we'll be here all day explaining them. But Cyber Essentials and CCM, all those sorts of, everything you'd need to remain compliant. And these storage areas, as you can see, are available across the globe. So yeah, you're able to pick your storage region. So if you're a multinational company, Switzerland, for example, data can't leave the borders. Same thing as Korea and China. So you're able to select those regions and store within those regions, and they have the correct compliance rules. So to bring it all together then, Recording Insights. So because we're native in Teams, it's very, very easy and quick to deploy. As it says there, one day we've done hundreds and hundreds of users in a day session actually to roll it out. So it's fast and easy to deploy. Because it looks and feels like Teams, there's no need for a big training sessions and anything like that. It's very, very simple. As I say, it's all within Teams. So setting policies to keep flexible recording rules. So you're able to say, let's say Team A or in the contact centre, we'll record all of your calls and we'll retain all of your calls for 10 years. Team B, who are sat 5 yards away, we'll record on demand and we'll only keep what we do record, we'll keep for 30 days, something like that. So it's very, very granular in how you can set it up. Again, I've gone through compliant recording and storage. So again, the key takeaway on the compliance side is the handling of data, the locking down of data, and securing it, storing it securely. Fast and easy searching. So again, mining the data. So when you've got that data, what do you do with it? How do you handle it? The powerful tools using Microsoft Cognitive Services within the Teams application to get to the crux of the matter as quickly as possible and be able to handle complaints, etc., etc. And a protection against deletion and manipulation of data, again, going back to the compliance side. So just to bring it to a close, the one solution for all requirements is all devices, all types of chat, all call scenarios, and all media. So when you're looking at a vendor, when you're looking at a compliant recording solution, again, chat is very, very key, but making sure that we're able to handle all devices, all call scenarios. So people joining and then leaving group meetings, open rooms, I guess, within teams, people joining, going, how's that captured? It will be captured with insights and replayed within teams. So that's it from me, really. Thank you very much for listening. And I think all good. Do you want time for any questions? Yeah. Anybody got a question?
Yes. With chats, you can attach files.
Yes.
So does it capture any files that are attached?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So document sharing. Yeah. Working on document collaborative working, that sort of thing. Yeah. Everything as it updates, it stores.
You mentioned a huge myriad of the international standards, and that's great.
Yep.
Are you able to customize the solution around local policies, around stuff that's either specific to our industry or specific to us as a company?
Yep.
So our compliance rules?
Yes. Yeah. So the setup of it, I mean, unfortunately I don't have any screenshots, but we have a stand out there, so if you want to come along, then the guys will show you the solution in action. But yes, it's granular. So what are you talking about? Internal policies, customer charters, things like that?
Internal policies and things that are very industry specific. So we manage nuclear power stations, so we have the International Atomic Energy Association, have lots and lots of compliance legislation.
Yep.
Wouldn't expect their specific stuff to be captured in a very general. You might have it, but those are the sort of things that change on a regional basis as well. So we need different compliances in different areas.
So within UK specifically, so for storage, for example, so there's your north and south regions. There's European regions as well that you can store in, policy-wise, absolutely. So, like I say, if you've got certain teams, they can be locked down or opened up, however you want to run it.
Cool.
Just following on from data storage, if you've got multi-geo implemented with Microsoft 365 so you can ensure data remains within geographical boundaries, can you map that same configuration with ACS?
ASC, yes you can.
Did I say it wrong? ASC. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, yes you can. Yes you can.
I hope it's not another company.
No. I've never heard of if they are. No, yes you can. Yeah.
You said about the files that it captures, but if you've got the team chat linked to a site hub, which is kind of separate, does it also capture that data as well? That's in the kind of its own document library site hub.
I'll be lying if I said yes, and I'll be lying if I said no. I would have to check on that one for you. I'd have to check. So it's an external.
Yeah, so you've got your team site where you've got your SharePoint as well.
Yeah.
If you've got your own intranet and your document library with its own individual site hub, and you sync or you link that channel to that site.
Yes, you can. So I haven't mentioned it, but that's just prompted me. So we have now a link to Dynamics as well, so you can attach files, customer data, and so we have that, and also we have APIs exactly for that scenario.
Cool.
So if you're using sensitive information types in Microsoft 365, so for example, for PCI DSS, credit card numbers, and somebody types that in the chat, you can get that information blocked and redacted.
Yes.
Is this capturing the original source or post any redaction?
So you're not going to be able to stop someone typing that number into the chat. So the compliance is the thing where technology versus company rules, I guess. It's got to be a mixture of the two. So if someone is, there's a very well-known insurance company, I went in this was a few years ago, post-it notes galore plastered with customer details, you know, and that's something that, again, if you're then taking that on into the Teams world, people typing into the chat, if someone's going to do it, they're going to do it. So redaction would be posted, it would be taken out of that chat.
So you wouldn't actually use the native sensitive information types within Microsoft 365 to do it? Because what would happen in the chat, you would type the credit card details in, you would see it on yours. The person that it gets sent to, they would immediately see it, and then it gets blocked to say, this information can't see. Depending on the point of time you're capturing that, you may be capturing that before it's been redacted or afterwards.
It'll be afterwards, yeah. Thank you very much.